Imagine a world not so long ago. It was a world where we, Homo sapiens, were not the only humans. We shared this planet with other kinds of people. Two of these groups were the Neanderthals and the Denisovans. They were our ancient cousins. They were not primitive brutes as cartoons sometimes show them. They were intelligent and resourceful people. They survived for hundreds of thousands of years in harsh environments. They built shelters. They made tools. They hunted large animals. They cared for their sick and elderly. The story of humanity is a story of movement. Our ancient ancestors were not static. They were explorers. They walked out of Africa in multiple waves over hundreds of thousands of years. The ancestors of Neanderthals, Denisovans, were part of an early wave. They left Africa long before Homo sapiens began their global journey. These early hominins spread across Eurasia. They adapted to new climates, new foods, new challenges. The Neanderthals settled in the west. The Denisovans moved into the east. Each adapted to their own part of the world, but they did not live in complete isolation. Their worlds were about to collide with each other, and with a new group of humans expanding out of Africa, us. They shared landscapes, competed for resources, and as we now know, much more. What does it mean when we say these ancient human groups interbred? The term for this is hybridization. It means individuals from two different populations had children together. In this case, different human species. For a long time, scientists debated if this was even possible. The answer is a resounding yes. The proof is written in the genome of nearly every person alive today. Every person with ancestry outside of sub-Saharan Africa carries a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA. We know about Denisovans almost entirely from DNA. In 2010, scientists sequenced the genome from a tiny fingerbone fragment found in Denisova cave. The DNA did not match Neanderthals or modern humans. It was something new. In the same cave, scientists later found a bone belonging to a girl nicknamed Denny. When they sequenced her DNA, they discovered her mother was a Neanderthal and her father a Denisovan, a first-generation hybrid. This brings us to one of the most exciting and controversial ideas in modern anthropology. The settlement of the Americas is the last great chapter of human expansion. The standard story: hunter-gatherers from Siberia crossed Beringia into Alaska around 15,000 years ago. But what if they were not the very first? Denisovans were widespread across Asia, from Siberia to tropical regions, placing them at the doorstep of Beringia. During Ice Age low sea levels, Beringia was a vast habitable plain, not a narrow bridge, ideal for hardy hunter-gatherers. The theory: a group rich in Denisovan genes, perhaps hybrid populations, crossed Beringia tens of thousands of years before later migrants. Maybe 30,000 years ago, perhaps 40 or even 50,000 years ago. These hybrids were adapted to Arctic conditions. They could hunt mammoths, bison, and other megafauna. From Beringia they could move south into the Americas, a ghost population who lived and then vanished. They might have lived for thousands of years and then died out before Homo sapiens arrived. Or they might have met and mixed with incoming Homo sapiens, their hybrid DNA remaining as a faint echo in some modern indigenous genomes. The most powerful tool we have to test the hybrid hypothesis is genetics. Scientists can sequence genomes of ancient peoples and modern populations. They look for telltale signatures, colorful ancestry components, and tiny segments that hint at distant admixture. The vast majority, over 95% of indigenous American ancestry traces to a single founding population from East Asia. But in the other 5% things get interesting. Some studies detect a mysterious signal called population Y, particularly in some Amazonian groups. Some Amazonian groups show a small genetic link to indigenous peoples of Australia and Melanesia, puzzling across the vast Pacific. One idea: a remnant from an earlier coastal or trans-Pacific migration rich in Denisovan ancestry. Another: the founding Beringian population was itself diverse and carried the signal. Teasing apart these models is hard. Ancient DNA is fragmentary and degraded. We need more ancient genomes, especially from Asia and the Americas, to resolve whether population Y reflects an early hybrid migration or complex structure within one wave. While genetics provides one line of evidence, archaeology provides another. To prove early humans in the Americas, we need undisputed artifacts and dated human bones. For decades, the Clovis first model dominated. Clovis appeared approximately 13,000 years ago. But several sites now present compelling, sometimes contested, evidence for much earlier presence. Cerruti Mastodon suggests 130,000 years ago. Highly contested because fractures may be natural. More widely accepted, White Sands footprints dated to 23,000 years ago. Direct snapshots of people walking the Ice Age landscape. Zacatecas in Mexico suggests stone tools approximately 30,000 years old. Monteverde in Chile is securely dated to over 14,500 years. We have tools and footprints, but we cannot yet say who made them. Homo sapiens or another human like a Denisovan hybrid. So far, no human fossils from very early sites have yielded DNA. Bones are absent, non-human, or too degraded. A single human bone from a 30,000-year-old American site containing retrievable DNA would be the holy grail. Until then, we have stone tools, footprints, and lingering questions. The field is broadly divided, proponents of deep-time pre-Homo sapiens migration and skeptics who favor a recent single-wave migration. Both sides have strong arguments. The debate is not about ego. It is about interpreting limited, complex evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Skeptics scrutinize dating methods and artifact contexts. The consensus still favors approximately 1520K Homo sapiens migration, but evidence from sites like White Sands is shifting the conversation. The hybrid theory remains an outlier but increasingly plausible. How will we solve this mystery? The answer lies in future research and new technologies. Scientists are developing methods to extract DNA from older, more degraded samples, from bones, teeth, even cave sediments. Applying sediment DNA techniques to sites like Chiquihuit Cave could be a game changer. We also need more ancient genomes from East and Central Asia and Siberia. A 40,000-year-old genome from northeastern Siberia tying Denisovan ancestry to Amazon signals would be a smoking gun. Researchers are also searching submerged ancient coastlines with sonar and submersibles for lost migration hotspots. This work requires collaboration: geneticists, archaeologists, geologists, linguists, and respectful partnerships with indigenous communities. LiDAR, remote sensing, improved dating, and sediment. DNA will sharpen timelines and find sites not yet known. Future research must be respectful and collaborative, blending science with traditional knowledge and consent-based sampling. The story is in the land, in the genes, and in the stories of the people. Why does it matter if the first people in the Americas were Homo sapiens or some ancient hybrid group? It matters because it fundamentally changes our understanding of the human story. Who built watercraft? Who endured Arctic crossings? Who innovated in new worlds? If Denisovans or Neanderthals played a role, it forces us to abandon notions of species superiority. They were capable, creative, and daring. Understanding a deeper past enriches indigenous histories. The work must be done with respect for communities whose ancestors we study. We carry genetic ghosts of ancient encounters. Parts of Neanderthals and Denisovans live on in our DNA. Whether their descendants walked New Mexico 23,000 years ago is still a question, but it is a question worth asking. In searching for them, we search for a more complete picture of who we are and how we all came to be here. Our past is more tangled, mysterious, and connected than we knew. The hunt continues.